The CEO passed away. His funeral will be done in 2 days. It was just 2 days ago that I received this shocking news. It was from my boss at the headquarters in New York, the one who had transferred me to a less desirable position. You better be there, he emphasized. Well, of course, every employee would attend the CEO's funeral, no matter their position. But I was exasperated by my boss's typical attitude. Today, I left the suburban branch of the food distribution company I'd been transferred to and arrived at the nearest station to the funeral venue. Looks like I'll make it on time. As I was thinking that and about to pass through the station gates, I spotted a woman struggling at the ticket booth, pushing a wheelchair. The station attendant, who looked like she was about to approach, seemed somewhat reluctant. Upon closer inspection, the woman had foreign features, perhaps Vietnamese. In the wheelchair was a young girl, also with Vietnamese features, possibly in elementary school. Mother and daughter, maybe. I was curious, and as I casually approached them, I realized they were speaking in Vietnamese. Actually, I had majored in Vietnamese as my secondary language in college. Though it was just a secondary language, I had taken proper courses and even got certified. I also had experience working at a Vietnamese restaurant. Thanks to being surrounded by native speakers, my speaking skills were decent. Given my background, I decided to approach them and asked in Vietnamese. Is everything all right? She looked surprised for a moment but quickly responded in Vietnamese. Oh, do you speak Vietnamese? Relieved that she understood me, I nodded. Yes, I learned it in college. I can speak a bit. I thought maybe I could help if you had any issues. Her eyes lit up. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure how to buy tickets. I tried asking the station attendant, but I barely speak any English, so we couldn't communicate. I didn't know what to do. It's so good to find someone kind. Could you show me how to buy the tickets? Of course, let me guide you. I showed her how to purchase and load a Metro card, and we passed through the gates together. Thank you so much. You were a great help. They both looked visibly relieved. It felt good to be able to use what I had learned to help someone. My pleasure. There's an elevator over there. That should make things easier, I pointed out, then noticed something. Oh no. The elevator was out of service. Oh dear, it seems to be broken. Hearing this, she looked deeply worried. Oh no, what do we do? We have a very important appointment today. Her cheerful expression darkened. Should I help carry the wheelchair up the stairs? I hesitated. Depending on the weight of the wheelchair, it might take too long. And then I might miss the CEO's funeral. I considered asking the station attendants for help, but a quick glance made it obvious they were avoiding eye contact. I didn't want to rely on them. I had to do something. I couldn't just abandon them now. I made up my mind. Would you like me to help carry the wheelchair up the stairs? Can you carry your daughter on your back? Yes, I can. Thank you, she replied with joy. She took the little girl out of the wheelchair, folded it, and tried to lift it. It was pretty heavy. Was it foreign made? Or are American ones this heavy too? I haven't lifted any other wheelchairs, so I couldn't compare. Gathering strength, I somehow managed to carry it up the stairs. Are you okay? Even though she was also carrying her child, she kept checking on me. I'm fine. Aren't you the one who's got the heavier load? Trying to appear calm, I continued up the stairs. I'm good. I'm used to carrying my daughter. As she smiled, we reached a landing halfway up the stairs and decided to take a break. I'm sorry for asking now, but do you have time? I'm worried if you were in a hurry to. Well, actually, I am kind of in a rush. I briefly thought of my boss, replied with a wry smile, and she looked alarmed. Oh no, please, go on ahead without us. Even though she said that, there's no way I could leave the mother and child alone on this landing. She definitely couldn't carry the heavy wheelchair up by herself. No worries, helping you two is more important. Please let me assist you all the way. Checking the time, it seemed I would barely make it to the funeral. After resting and regaining some strength, we continued up the remaining stairs. "You can do it. Thanks, mister." The daughter cheered me on. Finally, we made it to the top. "We made it, we're here. Thank you so much for helping. We truly appreciate it." The three of us shared a moment of joy on the platform. Just then, a station announcement sounded. "The train will be departing shortly." Oh no, I instinctively started to run, but the train doors closed and it took off. This is not good. I needed that train to make it to the CEO's funeral on time. Now I'd be late. "I'm so sorry. It's my fault you missed the train." Seeing my distress, she kept apologizing, but I didn't want to make the two of them feel bad. "It's okay. Things will work out," I said, trying to reassure her with a smile. While waiting for the next train, I called my boss, but there was no answer. Mixed feelings of relief and anxiety welled up. Once the daughter was back in the wheelchair, we sat on a bench, and I decided to ask a question that had been on my mind. "Do you two live around here?" "We actually just moved here after getting married, but there have been some complications." She hesitated to continue, so I quickly said, "Oh, it's okay. You don't have to talk about it. Sorry for asking." Time ticked away. The next train was in 15 minutes. I sighed, thinking about how my boss would scold me. The thought of being scolded by that boss again made me stressed. As well as being late to the CEO's funeral, just the thought of seeing my boss after so long depresses me. "Do you have any other worries aside from being late?" I was taken aback by her remark. I wouldn't usually open up, but I was at ease and began to share little by little. "I'm sorry for sighing like that. The thing is, I faced some unfair situations at work and was transferred to a branch in the suburbs. I initially had a stable job at the headquarters." "That's really sad to hear. It might be strange to say this to someone I've just met, but my boss pinned his mistakes on me, and that's why I'm in this current state. I'll have to see him again soon, and that's been weighing on me. Haha, I'm sorry for sharing all this, but no one ever listened to me before." "No, it's okay. You helped us out. The least we can do is listen." She smiled warmly. "It's a bit embarrassing. I've never shared my work complaints with anyone before." Before I knew it, I was sharing what I had been holding in for so long. I probably wanted someone to listen. Words came pouring out, much to my own surprise. I guess my boss didn't like me, so he falsely accused me of making errors and intentionally got me transferred to a suburban branch right when things were looking up for me at the headquarters. "That's unfortunate. I'm sorry I can't help, but thank you for sharing," she whispered sadly. Just think of it as a regular murmur of an employee. Just talking about it feels like a weight has been lifted. I regretted burdening her with my problems. Wanting to lighten the mood, I changed the topic. "I actually have a dream. I want to produce frozen foods for foreigners living in the US, something authentic that reminds them of their homeland. But I can't do that at the branch I'm currently at. Only the headquarters handle food development, so one day I want to go back and make that dream come true." "That sounds wonderful. I'll root for you." As we were chatting, the train arrived. I helped them board and we all managed to get on. Coincidentally, we got off at the same station 2 stops later. Thank you for listening. I'm in a rush now, so I'll be on my way. As I rushed towards the exit, I heard, "Thank you, goodbye." They, still getting a grasp of English, waved and thanked me. When I finally arrived at the funeral venue, the ceremony was almost over. As the priest was conducting the prayers, I noticed my boss glaring at me. Oh boy, it's all over. The thought of what's next gives me a headache. I shakily paid my respects and took my seat. After the ceremony, as the casket was being loaded into the hearse, my boss called out, "Hey, I need a word with you." "Yes, sir." The moment we entered a private room, he started yelling. "What do you think you're doing? Showing up late to the CEO's funeral?" "I'm sorry. I was helping a foreign family at the station and lost track of time." My weak attempt at explaining only fueled his rage. "Helping people, and foreigners at that, you should have just ignored them. His shouting was so loud that it seemed to have caught the attention of the others. The vice president and other employees also rushed over. "What's the problem? He was late to the funeral, and I was punishing him." "I see. Being late isn't good. So why were you late?" "He claims he was helping foreigners. I told him he should have just left them be." At that point, a young man stepped forward. "Wait a minute, what's this about helping foreigners?" The boss looked annoyed. "Who are you, may I ask?" "I'm the son of the CEO, whose funeral was held today. I haven't been in the US for a while, so many of you might not know me, but I'm taking over the company now." Everyone looked shocked. "I overheard your conversation. You're berating him for helping foreigners. I don't think that's right." "Well, I didn't mean it like that. I was just pointing out his tardiness." The boss was in a panic. "I can't blame him. After all, my wife is the Vietnamese woman he helped out." With that, the soon-to-be CEO brought out the Vietnamese woman I had just met at the train station. It was unexpected for her to show up, but the real shocker was that they were married. "Our daughter uses a wheelchair due to her leg condition. When they tried to take the train today, they couldn't figure out how to buy tickets. They tried asking a station attendant, but because of the language barrier, they couldn't get their point across. Luckily, he, who speaks Vietnamese, stepped in to help them. Not only did he help buy the tickets, but he also helped carry the wheelchair up long stairs. Despite being in a hurry, he stayed with them until they were on the train. My wife, daughter, and I are all deeply grateful to him. Scolding him is unthinkable." The boss was trembling. I had no idea. I'm so sorry." But the future CEO was livid. "That's not all. You've made some pretty derogatory remarks about foreigners, haven't you? Our company plans to produce more and more products for an international audience. It's problematic to have someone with your mindset. Maybe you don't belong here. Please, don't say that." But his pleas were in vain. "I heard you even resorted to foul play to get him transferred out. You don't need to come into the office anymore." I can't believe this." The boss had just been fired on the spot. The new CEO gave him a cold glance. On the other hand, he had warm words for me. "Thank you for helping my wife and daughter. I intended to drive them here myself, but things came up and they had to take the train. I know about the transfer too. Such things shouldn't happen. Once I become CEO, this company will operate based on merit, not biases." He was passionate in his speech. "I heard you speak Vietnamese. Would you consider working at our headquarters on product development for our international line?" I was surprised. "Really? You're sure about that?" "Absolutely. We need someone with your skills on the team." A dream I'd given up on was about to come true. Overwhelmed with joy and surprise, I found tears streaming down my face. Under the new CEO's leadership, I returned to the headquarters and got to work on developing products for an international audience. Like a genuine bibimbap for Koreans, a hot pot set for the Chinese, and an extra-large spring roll for Vietnamese. There were challenges initially, but with teamwork and determination, we successfully launched these products. When we released them, they became instant hits, and our sales skyrocketed. Our company's sales are on the rise. "Well, I'm glad I trusted you with this." The CEO was very pleased. From these accomplishments, I was promoted. I grew close to his wife and daughter after that incident, often dining together. During one of these outings, I met one of his wife's friends, whom I later married. She was Vietnamese, so it became an international marriage. Looking back, it's such a mysterious twist of fate. I'm so glad I took that leap of action that day. Holding my child, I reflect on those moments. I have to keep working hard to ensure happiness for my wife and child, and continue my commitment to product development. "You'll be the future CEO," the CEO once joked during a company gathering. I knew he was joking, but those words mean a lot. And I wonder if there's some truth to it, since no one else has been told that. It's a secret source of motivation for me. I'm determined to continue making products for him and for this company. And that's what I intend to do.